Okay, this is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com looking at property here. Calvin, first off, I want to thank you for letting me take a look at your property and hope I can help you out here with it and give you some insight and stuff and everything. And anybody else that's watching, maybe you'll learn a little bit from this property here or from this video. Anybody else that watches it here on YouTube. And guys, you could, leave a comment thanking Kelvin if you learned something, because he actually, paid to have the video done and everything. So, anyways, Kelvin, like I said, I appreciate it, and we're gonna get started here and take a look at this thing. First off, being new to deer hunting, and not hunting this property, there's and putting trail cameras and stuff up. The first thing is realize that there is a learning curve, when it comes to hunting, and there's never an always, and there's never a never. I mean, there's things that deer will do that they shouldn't do, or you would think they shouldn't do. So it can throw you a curveball. Basically, what I'm saying is, as you're learning and you learn something, try if a deer does something that seems weird, especially if you see something, guys that's hunted for a while and they say, well, that's odd, or something doesn't seem right about that or something. I wouldn't itch it into stone right off the bat, because sometimes they'll do things that throws you for a curveball, and the worst thing that can happen to you is a deer does something, that is, out of the norm, or that he shouldn't do, especially a big buck, and then you kill it and you think that they'll all do that. For instance, let's say, guys that smoke on their deer stand, and they say, well, I've killed big bucks while I was smoking a cigarette, and that happens. I mean, it does. And you'll even have guys, well, I killed a big buck while I was smoking a cigarette, and he was right downwind. And that happens. And one thing, they got lucky, okay? I mean, if you watch videos, one of the, I don't know what their videos, just amazing videos or something, there's a deer, a nice buck, that goes crashing through a grocery store with people in it, okay? I mean, who would have thought that, the best spot that day to kill that deer would have been inside the grocery store, okay? That may never happen again, at least in that grocery store. But, so, listening to guys, because I've had guys, that said, well, I smoke and stuff like that. You got to be careful some of the things you listen to, as a new hunter, because there are people that have killed some monster bucks while smoking cigarettes with the wind blowing straight to them deer. Okay, it does happen. Okay, now, is that going to happen on a regular basis? No, it's not. On a regular basis, it's difficult for a big buck to get downwind to you no matter what without them smelling you. Okay, now there are certain things, and I'm not going to go into it. I have courses on it where thermals and stuff will carry scents up above deer a lot of times. And, there's certain things that can go on, and certain, things. If you have a lot of hunting pressure, deer are used to smelling odors. If you're in neighborhoods and things like that where there are people, they're used to smelling human odors and things. So these deer aren't going to react like that. But basically, what I'm saying is, just as a new deer hunter, is this being your first season to deer hunt, just be careful some of the stuff that you hear and that you listen to. And even, I don't know if I didn't ask you if you smoke or not like that. I remember when we talked on the phone. I didn't ask nothing like that. I mean, that, doesn't matter. I mean, people kill deer smoking, things like that. They do it all the time. And some of them have quite good success. But the main reason they have this success is that they have really good instinct with picking where deer are going to move and things like that. Okay? So, anyways, looking at this property here, I can tell you right now that you being a marksman and a long-range shooter, that any of these areas like this, I mean, this looks like it's pretty thick here, and then you've got this logging stuff going on. You've got this hardwood flat here, and I'm fixing to measure this out. What I'm doing. Any of these. Okay, so yeah, that's a 375-yard shot, and from talking with you on the phone, that seems like that's a very doable shot. At least talking to you on the phone. Now, if this would have been me setting this stand here, I would have set it in the middle, and then had a little under 200-yard shot both ways. Now the one thing that is good about the way this stand is set is you can use this open field. Especially once the hunting pressure hits, the deer are less likely to be out in this open field in the daytime. You can use that open field to blow your scent into. Okay, so basically, on a stand like this here, and I keep forgetting I don't have it. I might have to zoom out just a little bit. On a stand like that here, on that there, basically, I'm gonna just real quick, just because we're talking about the wind. North is at the top, south is obviously at the bottom, east is to the right of the screen, and then west is over here, okay? So if you're looking, let's say any southeasterly wind should be really good with this stand because it's going to take your scent. Any easterly wind should be pretty good, okay? That's going to take your scent like this and up to a south wind. Take your scent like that. So anything in between a south-southeast to east-southeast, I mean, anything between there is going to be really good to hunt this stand without putting pressure on deer. Because once the serious pressure hits, there shouldn't be a whole lot of deer out in these fields, okay? So your scent can blow out into here. Now, one thing you have to be careful of is accessing these stands that are close to these fields in the morning. Okay, when you walk through these fields, a lot of time the deer are in these fields feeding at night. Okay, and then they will, a lot of times in the evening after dark, they'll be out in these fields. So you have to be really careful. Okay, and looking at it, there's not. I'm assuming that you probably access from up here and come down one of these roads. Okay. I don't know if you're hunting. It sounded to me like you're hunting with your buddy. One thing that you can do is one of you can, if you're hunting around this field, you can actually just drive up to the stand. One of you hop out, get on the stand, and then the other person just drive off and then get out in here and park out in here because vehicles do not bother deer as much as a human walking through the thing. I mean, they're used to vehicles. They see vehicles up and down the road. A lot of times they'll just put out of the way, and then they'll just right back once the vehicle's gone. And it's not a pressure. It doesn't put any pressure. The deer can't relate that to any danger with the deer stand. Now, once you bust a shot off at them out of the deer stand, or if they see a human being in and out of that stand, or they smell you in that stand or something, then they'll relate that deer stand to pressure. But a vehicle driving in to the stand and then leaving, they can't relate that to any pressure, okay? Now, some of these others you have to be kind of careful of, but that's one way to keep the pressure down. But talking with just you and one other guy hunting this property, it's going to be hard to really overpressure the deer, especially right now when the rut's coming on. When the rut is coming on like it is, we're talking, it's October 25th right now when I'm recording this video. Okay, these bucks are starting to seek all across nearly the entire United States. There's some spots not yet, but most of the United States, the bucks are starting to seek. There's no telling where they are going to be. There's no telling where they're at, and there's no predicting where they're going to be at. They're going to move a lot. So at that time, I worry a lot less about my entrance and exits. I try not to enter in the mornings through food sources. I try to skirt around the food sources, and I try not to get right in the middle of bedding, get really super close to bedding areas in the middle of the day. Okay, and then I say that, and then I contradict myself because I walk right in the middle of the bedding area and hunt usually this time of year when the rut kicks in. But anyways, that's some entering and exiting stuff for you. Let's talk about this stand here. It's really a good setup in my opinion. the guy that set these stands up, I would trust a lot of his judgment. The guy that's allowing y'all to hunt this property, I would trust his judgment a lot. He's 80 something years old. He's probably no telling how long he's hunted this property, and no telling how many deer he's killed off of it, how many he's seen. He should know where a lot of the deer are roaming. There's a couple spots that I see that should be really good, and we're going to talk about it, okay, other than what he has. But as for a rifle standpoint, where you're going to be shooting long distances, these open shooting lanes here, this is basically equivalent of a pipeline here, okay? And pipelines are just, deer have to cross them, okay? For a deer to get into here and out of here, he's got to cross this thing, or he's got to cross this open field. Now, yeah, the only thing I don't agree with is on his setups is the fact that he leaves such long shots between the stands. Okay. Now I know you're a marksman. You can shoot this distance probably. Talking to you. You have two stands here. Now, if you had two people on these stands, then that's getting you down to 200-yard shots. That's really, and I know there's guys gonna watch this video and say, man, 200 yards is nothing. I shoot 500, 600, 700 yards, and that does happen. But I can tell you that judging a deer and seeing what you're actually shooting at, walking across something this narrow, is, we're talking something that's 10 yards wide, 30 foot wide. It does not take a deer long to walk across there. You don't have, it's not like he's walking through a 100-acre field or something. You don't have long to judge to see what the heck you're shooting at. I would have liked the stands to have been more in the middle, limiting them shots to 200 yards where I can really identify what I'm shooting at quickly and then make the shot. You don't have a long time. So anyways, that's the only thing I have against how they're set up. Is it going to affect how many deer you see? Not a bit. You should be able to see these deer all the way down this thing. Is it going to affect the effectiveness of it? If you're quick and you can shoot good, it shouldn't at all. Okay, any of this stand or this stand, or even this stand here is giving you very good. They're very good gun hunting stands. Just absolutely no question about it. Okay, we're going to go back here real quick and we're going to look and see what this is. It looks to me like it's a clear cut that's a few years old, 4 or 5 years old or less. So we're going to go back in time here and look at it if we can get the computer. For some reason my internet's slow. Yep, exactly what it is. They cut this thing in between 2009 and 2012. They clear cut this. So this is a big thicket. 2009, 2012. It could have been cut in 2000. It looks like it's been cut for a couple of years, even in this 2012 picture. Now this is late 2012. The landowner probably knows when it was cut, but nevertheless, this should be a really nice bedding area for deer. A lot of food in here, a lot of browse for them at this stage. It could have been cut in 2011, could have been cut in 2010. As far as that goes, the dang thing. This picture here is May the 30th of 2009. This dang thing could have been cut June 1st. We don't know. It was cut sometime after May 30th of 2009. That's what we do know. And then this one here was cut recently then. This is a nice looking property too, by the way. I have not looked. I have not looked on this property on Google Earth yet until right now. I'm looking at this fresh. So all this information I'm giving you is fresh. I haven't looked at it and thought about this and that. And one of the reasons is you're gun hunting. You can cover some distance, and you're a very new hunter. I don't want to overwhelm you with a whole lot of information here. Okay, I can tell you that S4, good stand, good rifle stand, good rifle stand. All three of them. good rifle stands. You got a thicket here. You've got a thicket here. The deer are going to be coming across. These bucks are going to come and they're going to check this. And when these deer are running, you're going to have bucks in here that are chasing does around. Scent checking does, chasing does, and them does are going to hit this heavy cover and they're going to try to hide from them. And them bucks are eventually, at some point, they are going to cross these openings. S4 is good because it's a good transition point. This lane is a good spot where they're going to cross from this one, to this thicket to this thicket. I'm going to just keep going back here. I mean, this is my kind of stuff. It looks like we have one here now. We're in 2000. This one was 2009. Yeah, I already said that. Sometimes I forget. It looks like we have a younger one here. This is 1 year prior almost to the day. Same picture. We'll go back. Okay, yeah, see, this one's fresher cut now. You've got some good logging going on. You've got a lot of food. Anytime you have a lot of logging going on like this, especially when they're spread out, you have this one here that was cut. Let's see. Let's go back one here. Let's zoom in on this thing. This is 2005. Let's see if we can find a photo. Well, this takes us all the way to 1998 here. And we have a big jump from 1998 all the way to 2005. And then this one takes us to 2006. So this thing, I mean, I don't know when it was cut. It was cut before 2005. Or at least it was cut. Well, it was cut looks like even like here, it's cut a pretty good while before there. Okay. This was cut a pretty good time before 2005, at least June. Probably, I don't know when. But the really good thing here, I'm going to explain kind of really quick. The good thing about these being cut at different times is that you have diverse habitat. These logged areas, they evolve in time. Okay, this one here, this thing, I mean, it's 216. It was cut before 5. So this thing here is at least, I would say at least 12 years old. Okay. This one was cut. Oh my gosh, when was this dang thing cut? I think it was cut in. Well, we can just roll back. I can do that without messing the picture up. I apologize. So much runs through my mind when I'm doing these things. A lot of guys get aggravated at me for repeating myself over and over. Okay, this thing was cut in between 2006. This is June 30th. And this is June the 25th. So this thing was cut between 2006 and 2008. So this thing could be, it's 10 years at the oldest. It could possibly be as young as 8 years. We're just going to say the thing's 9 years. Just, it's about 9 years old. Okay. Now this one here was cut. I think we said that thing was cut in 2005. But anyways, guys, well, you repeat yourself so many times. And I'll tell you why. Try shooting one of these videos, and you'll repeat yourself sometimes too because you get on something. At least I do. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize all this here had been cut. Just spotted that. This here's freshly cut. Okay, so this was cut. That may be cut at the same time. Okay, let me circle that. I didn't even realize that. All this was cut, and this is going to bring up one stand location. If I was bow hunting this property, which is what I would be doing if I was hunting it, I would have had me a stand in one spot on here that I think would be dynamite. Right. Okay, anyways, so this was cut at the same time about, we got 2012 here, 2009, let's say it's at least 4. Let me look at this picture and see if I can. This is 2012, and this thing looks like it's been cut at least a year. So this thing was cut, I'm going to say it was cut 11, it's probably cut in 10. So we're going to say this is 6 years old. It's about that. We don't have to be exact. It's not going to make that big a difference. So this is a 6-year-old cut, 6-year-old cut, and a 6-year-old cut. Okay, now the important thing is these clear cuts, they evolve. Okay, we have right here we have a 1 to 3 years. Okay, here we have a 3 to about 10 years. Okay, and here we have say 10 to 15 years. Okay, and then here we have 15 plus. Okay, now they're going to evolve in a circle. Okay, I'm going to change colors here. And I have so many people asking me what this is I draw with. It's desk scribble on Apple. I mean, there's multiple things that I don't know what you call them. I mean, they have some that you can draw on. I'll make videos of it. So this is 15 years plus. Okay, this is 1 to 3 years. Okay, what happens? Deer need 3 things to survive. They have to have food, they have to have cover, and they have to have water. I mean, they are must, okay? And they also have to have space. A lot of people don't realize that. Deer have to have space. You can't take 100 deer and put them on an acre. They'll eat all the food gone and they'll starve to death, okay? They have to have area big enough to support them, okay? So anyways, the thing is each year, each one of these groups to provide different things, okay? From 1 to 3 years, it provides a lot of food, and that's it. It provides food from 1 to 3 years, and tons of food. Lots of food in this time frame. Okay, in this 3 to 10 years, it's going to provide a lot of food, especially really. I should have done this for like 3 to 8. Let's do that. Let's do 3 to 9. Okay, let's do 3 to 9 years, and then we're going to do 9 to 15 here, because from 3 to 9 years, this thing provides food and it provides cover. Okay, and it'll actually start providing cover really 2 years, but mostly food. Okay, as it starts providing cover, the deer have food, then they have cover. Now, as you get to this 9 to 15, here it's got just lots of food. I mean, we're talking just a bunch of food. And the lower part of this has got just a little bit of cover, and then the cover gets really, really thick towards the end of this, towards that 9 years. It gets really super thick and really super nasty, and then the food starts going down and the cover comes up, okay? So here, you have a little bit of food, not a lot. Once you get to this 9 years, the food is starting to die out, because what happens is these trees are starting to grow, and the canopies are starting to cover at this time frame, and it could, depending on the amount of rain you had in the past few years, this can fluctuate a few years. Okay, but to understand this is important. Okay, but it starts shading out the food, and all this good browse that these deer love, it starts dying. Okay, and then you have nothing but just usually pine needles on the floor, and you get some mushrooms in there, and deer eat them, but the food starts limiting. There's always food on everything, but the older these get, the less food you have. Okay, so you have the food, and then you have a lot of cover here. Okay, so we got lots of cover here starts in, and then at 15 years, you really diminish, your cover starts disappearing, and your food's already getting depleted. But usually about this time, they come in and then they'll strip them, and they start the whole process over. So it's basically a circle. Okay, now the good thing about having like this property, you have right now, let me close this off and see, look at what we're looking at. Right now, you have some 6-year-old cuts. You've got some 12-year-old cuts. So you've got here, Change colors. You've got, on this property, you've got this. So you've got just gobloads of food. You've got gobloads of cover. And then you have this. You have 2 of them in this. And then you have 3 in here. So you have just gobloads of cover. And actually, you could have more than that, because as far as I can see, he could have had some cut in the past 2 years. One of this 12-year-old is getting real close to being thinned, or some of these other areas are getting real close to being thinned, or even property right along beside it could have been thinned. At that point, then you start this process over to 1 to 3 years, which you just have just gobloads of food. So nevertheless, when you have them diverse like this and spread out, you have part of your property cut at one time and another part, you're providing a lot of good habitat for deer, diverse habitat. You're providing a lot of what they need, and that's really important. Okay, so it just keeps going in a circle. Okay, at about 15 years, they're going to cut this. At some point, 15 to 20 years, they're going to come in and they're going to strip this. And when they do, they allow that sunlight in again, and that all that stuff that died just starts growing, and it grows at a level that the deer can get their mouths on it and eat. Okay, what it does is it holds a lot of deer in the area. I mean, a lot of deer. You got a lot of deer feeding, even if it's, sometimes you may not have a lot of bucks on these properties, depending on, where they want to summer during that time frame, but you have a lot of does. Okay, and when the rut comes in, when you got a lot of does, you're going to have bucks, period. So anyways, you've got the food covered, you got the cover covered. You got space. I mean, there's no high fence. This property isn't fenced in, so there's no limitation to how many, deer can be here. And you have water. I don't know about on the property exactly. I haven't really looked at that good, but I can see that there's water here. There's water here. I think there's a creek that runs right down through here, so I think you have water on the property. It looks like there might be water right there. There's water in the area. There's a pond right here. Actually, there's a pond right here on the property. It's just off the recording right there. There's a pond on the property, and we'll look at it in just a second. But so they have everything that they need on this property. Okay, all you've got to do is get set up and cut them off. It would be hard for someone to hunt this property very much with a rifle and not kill a deer off of any of these stands. Let me see this. This one here I'm confused about. I'm thinking that this stand, I see the stand. I actually see the stand. Okay, the only thing what I'm confused about this stand, as far as a rifle standpoint, is why, oh my dang headset's going dead. Let me just a second. Why that? It doesn't look like you can see very far. So give me just a second. So from what I'm seeing actually, we were talking about this. This has been stripped. Let's go look and see when this was stripped. Right here, because that's going to be important. Uh, 12. Okay. See, this here was maybe it was probably stripped at the same time that was clear cut. Oh my word, really? Yep, it looks like it. So it looks like this was stripped at the same time that this was clear cut. The thing that gets me about this is why this stand, I know it's right on the property line, and I can see where probably when this was first stripped for about the first 3 years, maybe a little longer, because it's not going to get quite as much sun underneath it as a clear cut, so maybe a little longer. I can see where this stand would be really hot here, because you could shoot out into this. But it looks to me like this stand is blocked off where you can't get the shots that you need. If you can, that's a good stand. I mean, you can cover some ground with it. And This stand here, I don't know. Um, I would like this stand. I don't even can't even see the stand. Let me see if I can get in here and see it. I believe this stand is where you can shoot. Let me close this off. I believe you can shoot here, okay, and you can shoot here, okay, and it possibly can shoot here a ways. I would really like to see. There looks like there's a green bush here or something, but I'd really like to be able to shoot that way on this thing. Then basically any deer that come within 200 yards of this stand, where they come across here, across here, across here, or across here, they can't get around you. If that's the case, this is a very, very good stand. Okay, this is gun hunting stuff, guys. Anytime you're rifle hunting and you can cover distance, 200 yards, anything that you can get on that distance. Well, I say anything, not everything. Everything is. You can set some places that you can see 5 miles and never see a deer. Well, probably not that far, but well, yeah. But most places where you have good habitat like this, that you've got habitat. I mean, you've got a creek bottom here that's got oaks in it. You've got gobloads of logging activity all around this property. You've got fields. I mean, they've got diversity. Okay, you've got an old clear cut here. These deer have diversity. They have what they need. This stand here, unless this is some type of a food plot or a field that has food in it for deer, the only thing this stand would be good for is going to be deer in these oaks. This is probably a good stand, but I don't like it on this field. Honestly, I would rather have a bow stand setting out in these oaks, on one of these edges, or I would rather hunt these edges on these other fields. This one here. Now, if there's a food plot out in here, I'll tell you one thing. If you have a property and you've got food plots, I should have asked you. I don't remember. I might have told you, and it may be in your email. If there are food plots, I would have a trail camera on every food plot, monitoring them throughout the season. Okay, you are up where you'll get some pretty good weather here. As you get nasty weather and you get late season and all the food starts running thin, these deer will gravitate into them. Okay, and then you can hunt them at that time. Them late gun seasons for you should be pretty good. My favorite stands on this property for rutting rifle stands. If I was going to hunt this property with a rifle during the rut, I'm going to be on one of these three. I'm going to be honest with you. One of them three are the hottest rifle stands to me. This one here, if it shoots 4 ways, you would have a hard time keeping me off the stand much. If I can shoot the 4 ways I talked about. The reason is because you have one, let me show you. Forget where my dang pen was. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of cover, 4 types of habitat, 5 types of habitat that are connecting within gun range of this stand. And these bucks, and every one of them habitats has got bedding in them, except for maybe 4. It could be really, really thick. Let's look. Let's see when 4 is cut. And I know it's off the property, and a lot of guys make mistakes when they're looking at aerial photos and stuff of their property. They don't want to look at the neighbors to see what the neighbor has. I'm going to tell you right now, deer don't care. Yeah, see, this is an old clear cut too. I don't know what the heck them little things there are. I don't know what that is, what that's about. I'd been cool to be able to see that in color. See what the heck. Maybe you could see what them are. I don't know what them are. Them little, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Deer don't. They don't care about property lines. The bucks are going to scent check the does that are over here, just the same as they are over here and here and here. And also this creek, as it cruises, as it comes up and down here along this creek, them bucks are going to cruise up and down that creek. And then this other one that I said looks like a creek, it is a creek. You can see it right here. That would be a dynamite bow spot up and down this creek. Would be an awesome bow hunting spot for bucks cruising up and down that creek. This #1 stand here could potentially be a very good stand as well, with bucks cruising up and down that creek, especially if this is a dang food plot. Okay. Even if it's not a food plot, it could still be a good stand, as long as you can see across that creek at some point and get a shot up across that creek. Because you have, if you sit back and you look at this entire area, okay, you have, oh my Lord, I'm trying to find my pen again. You have pines. You have pines. I mean, you have pines. You have pines. You have pines. Okay, you have them here. You've got oaks, and it runs off the property here. You have oaks. You have some oaks. Okay, you have a little bit of oaks right in here. Okay, that's what. Oh, we're right in here. It's one thing that makes this stand here pretty good, because you have this big oak flat. There's a big, huge oak flat just south of this stand, just off the property here. There's a huge oak flat, and you've got a big bedding area here, big, fairly new clear cut, it looks like, here. And these bucks are going to come out and in and out of there, and they're going to come in and out of all these thickets. They're going to hit them oak flats. They're going to cruise up and down them and stuff, checking for does. They're going to scent check every one of these thickets. Okay, and up here's no different. You have these creeks. Bucks love cruising down creeks in the rut. I mean, they just do. They cruise creeks. They cruise certain things. That creek is going to be a travel corridor for bucks. Scent checking all these thickets. He's going to hit these creeks. Boom, he'll go up into this thicket. He'll scent check this. Coming across here, he's going to cut across this stuff. This property looks good, and he's got some stands set up good. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I was going to hunt this property, the only difference I would do, because I like to bow hunt, and I'm not against rifle hunting a bit. I do occasionally go gun hunting. Most of the time when I go gun hunting, though, I don't have a gun in my hand. I have a video camera filming my wife and kids, especially here this year. I promised my wife I would take her more than she wants to go. I promised her I'd make her go a couple times. So anyways, that's another story for another video. But I'm not against gun hunting in a bit. And there's some guys that bow hunt, and they're, well, these guys are gun hunting, they're killing all the deer. Well, if all it was bow hunting, there would be so many deer, it'd be insane. Okay, so I think that we need guns to thin out the deer, to keep them from getting overpopulated. Okay, now I hear gun hunters complaining about bow hunters getting the best opportunity to kill bucks, and that's the first week of bow season, and I don't disagree with that. But I'll tell you what, anybody that limits theirself to having to have a deer within 30 yards of them deserves the crack at them the best time of the year, and that's when they're the very first week, when you can really pattern a deer and they're really patternable. Okay, and then guys complain about it. So guys, it's all hunting. Okay, there's no difference either way. But like I said, the only difference I would do, because I would be bow hunting, because I love it, is I would set me a couple stands on this dang creek. And one spot I would do it is where this creek comes together right in here. Looks very, very good. You have it bends here and it bends here. Them bucks are going to cruise that creek. And this looks like a little marshy, swampy type area. It looks really good. So, anyways, the the um, the stands are already set on the property. The thing is, being a new hunter, I'm gonna tell you the number one mistake that people make hunting is they don't set in the deer stands enough. They get in there, they don't see a deer for a couple hours, they want to get out and go somewhere else. In the rut, I'm gonna tell you right now, a buck can come out by at any moment as long as it's daylight and within legal shooting hours. That deer can come by at any moment. They'll sit there for an hour, 2 hours. They haven't seen a single deer, and they're thinking, "Well, I'm going to go to this other stand, or I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to go to that." What they do a lot of times is they get down and they walk right into the deer and blow the deer out of there, and they don't get a shot at him. He was headed that way, or whatever the case is. When you go to walking around and stuff a lot, it's trying to scout. That's what they want to do. They want to get down and scout. I want to find a better spot. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with scouting during season. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now, there is something wrong with scouting, finding an ultimate spot, and sitting there an hour or two, and then getting down and scouting because you haven't already killed the deer. That is just being too impatient. The number one thing is not spending enough time hunting. I'm going to tell you like it is right now. And this you can sit here and you can watch every single video that I've done. You can watch every deer hunting video. You can read every deer hunting book. You can be the smartest person when it comes to deer hunting. And you'll never kill a deer if you don't get out there and spend the time in the woods. You cannot kill a deer watching my videos or anybody else's videos, to be honest with you. Now, you can gain knowledge that will help you kill deer. But the number one thing, and I'm telling you this, Calvin, because I know you're new to hunting. And other guys, you have to get out. You have to spend the time in the woods. There's times it gets frustrating. I mean, I'm so frustrated. I'm hunting one buck, and I'll just be straight honest with you. I've hunted 11 consecutive times. Now, by myself, I've seen deer, a lot of deer, taking my wife hunting because I've took her a few times in between. Now, in 11 consecutive sits, it doesn't take very long. That's like a week and a half for me. I mean, I hunt quite a bit. But I've hunted 11 consecutive times and haven't seen a deer while I was hunting by myself. Now, I've seen deer every single time I take my wife. I mean, we see multiple deer. But we're hunting to see deer. I'm wanting her to have fun. I'm hunting to kill a buck it's a bruiser. I want to kill him so bad that, honestly, I'm to a point where I could care less. I'll say I could care less if I kill a deer. That's a lie. I was fixing to say that. It'd be a lie. I do want to see deer. It gets frustrating sitting there and not seeing any deer. But I can tell you, I've had dry spells before. I think this is the longest. I don't think I have ever sat 11 consecutive times in a deer stand without seeing a deer. And that's not totally true because I've took my wife during that 11 times. I've took her 4, 5, 6. When I say consecutive times, I'm saying in the morning and in the evening. That's 2 times. In the mornings 1, and in the evenings 2. Morning 1, 3, evening 4, that kind of deal. And I've took my wife like 4 or 5 times, and every time we've seen deer. She actually missed a couple. She's killed one with a bow this year. I've killed deer with a bow this year, but I have went 11 consecutive times hunting by myself without seeing a deer, and that can drive you nuts. It makes me want to get out sometimes and go scouting, but I know from discipline that I do my scouting. I do a lot of it, but I know I've got the spots, and it's a matter of time when this big buck comes in, and I'm going to be putting the biggest buck that I've ever killed, and that most people will never even see a buck this big in their life, okay? I know it's a matter of time when he steps out, and I may not see a single deer until he steps out. This is my point right here. And when he steps out, within 1 minute, it goes from I may have 5 more dry spells without seeing a deer. And then within 1 minute's time, it all changes, and I've killed the biggest buck so far in my life, all within 1 minute's time span. That's deer hunting. And it's a patience game. Now, I'm not saying don't scout because that can be a huge mistake. I can tell you right now, If you're sitting in the same stand and you've been sitting there for 5 years and you're sitting there and you haven't seen any deer in 5 years, you probably need to be doing some serious scouting. Go out and make some people mad in your area by walking up on them while they're hunting and running deer off and whatever, because you need to find you a new spot. Okay, I'm not hunting spots like that. I'm hunting spots where I've had this deer on camera during shooting light. I'm hunting spots where I've had multiple deer. I'm hunting spots where I know he's coming through. It's just a matter of me being there when he's there. Now think of this. Say we're sitting here on S4, Calvin, okay, and you're hunting, and you told me, I think you said you bought 3 or 4 trail cameras, and you're wanting to put them out. And I'm going to talk just here in just a second, just really quickly tell you some places I would put them. I told you if there's any food plots, have some cameras on food plots. I can tell you right now that these stands are, for a rifle hunter, you really don't need any more stands on this property. This S4 is a dynamite stand. If you can shoot 4 ways, there's probably not a better stand on the property. S3 is a good stand, and S2 is a good stand, and this S1 is a really good stand if you can shoot across this creek 30 yards on the other side of it, and anything on this side, obviously you can. Okay, the only other thing, you could possibly have one up in here or something, or a really tall deer stand where you can look down into this thick cover, and most people's not going to do that kind of stuff. Okay, so anyways, let's say you're sitting at this S4, okay, and you've sat here for 4 hours today, you haven't seen a single thing, and it's in the rut, and I'm telling you, and just about anybody that knows anything about deer hunting will tell you, if it's in the rut, a buck can come out at any second. Okay, let's say you're sitting here and you have a trail camera set here, and this has happened to me. Not this exact scenario, but it's this buck I've been hunting has been there the day before and the day after. So many times I've hunted to my stands, it's driving me nuts. But say you're sitting here 4 hours, okay, and it turns noon or whatever, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go get down, I'm going to do a little bit of scouting, and you have a trail camera set right here. Okay, so you get out and you do a little scouting, and say that because you had your trail cameras, you've picked a buck on here, and you say, I'm going to kill that buck. He's been on here plenty of times in the daylight. I think he's living here really close, and I think I got a good opportunity to kill him, and I would love to kill that deer, and I'm not going to hunt for any other deer but this one. Let's just say you said that, okay? Well, you sit here on S4, and you've had him multiple times on this trail camera, and a lot of guys will say, you know what, I'm going to get out, I'm going to move somewhere else. It's the middle of the day, he's not going to move. Even though the rut's going on, just because they haven't seen a single deer. So you get out and you walk over here and you look at this one. Well, 5 minutes after you get down, your camera snaps a picture of that deer. Because that is the kind of stuff that happens. Okay, I'm not saying get out. I'm not saying don't do that, because you could walk over here and climb up in S3 and kill him 5 minutes after you climb up the stand. Okay. What I'm saying, though, is put in your time on the deer stand. Don't short yourself on hunting time. You'll kill deer. I can tell you by looking at this property, any of these deer stands that's on this property, except for maybe S5, if you can't see more than what I'm thinking by looking at it, and I could be wrong, but by looking at this stand, unless there's some really good shooting lanes cut around this brush here. Unless see, I see this tree. It's coming out, and the stand setting here. Unless there's some really good lanes cut where you could see up and down this, and shoot out into here, this stand's going to be very difficult to get any distance for. You might as well be bow hunting it, and that's kind of, Does it mean you couldn't kill a deer like that? No, absolutely, kill the biggest one. I mean, if I was going to be rifle hunting this stand, I would not be opposed to sitting right here with a rifle and only having 30 and 40 yard shots, maximum. I wouldn't, because I know a buck's going to come down through there. Okay, so anyways, just about every stand on here, you can kill a deer on it. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, the S8, you can kill a deer on it, But if there's not food out in here, basically the distance that you're looking is kind of a lot of wasted distance. Yeah, a big buck walk right across open field, right in the middle of daylight. Noon in the daylight. It happens all the time. But most of the time he's going to be hugged tight to some cover. And I don't know how the stand's set up without actually going up there, climbing up the stand. Now, if you can set in this stand and you can cover this entire little oak flat, it's an awesome stand. If you can shoot from here to the property line, it's an awesome stand. Okay, if this is a food plot and you can shoot from here to the back of the property line, it's even a better stand. If you can shoot from here to here, it's really a good stand. Okay, so I think what I'm saying basically, I think the guys put the stands where they need to be. If you can cover that, then obviously you can cover the field. If you can cover all that, this is a really good stand, especially if this is a food plot. It even makes it better. You have water here, you have food all the way around it. You have your oaks, and the other thing that does give this stand some good potential is you have a big oak flat down here. These deer are really going to feed out in here at night, and then they're going to work their way back towards all these bedding areas. Okay, when they do that in the lockdown period, bucks are going to be with the does. Okay. Bucks are also going to come through here middle of the day and during the daytime and hit these doe trails and fall on them things. Okay. So anyways, if you have any questions, Calvin, feel free to email me. Trail camera spots, like I said, any of the food plots. During the summertime, I would run trail cameras on here in the summer. I would put them on this. I would put a trail camera on the small water hole for sure. If this thing is holding water year round. And it looks like it's got some good cover around it, I would have a trail camera on this thing year-round during the summer for sure. That's going to tell you what bucks you have in the area. If there's any bucks living on this property, that's going to tell you. Okay, it looks like you may have another little water hole here, you could do that. During the rut, I would have trail cameras set. Oh, you got water all over this property. In fact, that looks like it. I don't know, that looks like almost, I guess that's a pond. During the rut, I would definitely have a trail camera on this creek. You should be able to see where the deer are crossing it or something. Like I said, if it's a food plot, you're going to have a trail camera on it. You've got water all over this property. Yeah. It's going to be less effective by putting it here in the summer. These old roads like this here, it's in between a big thicket here, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not scrapes up and down this road. And that's a good spot for putting trail cameras. During the rut, any scrapes on the property, have a trail camera on it. It's going to tell you what bucks are in the area. If you're any type of looking for any kind of trophy, you want to look for your larger bucks, or at least get some pictures of the larger bucks and just put in your mind that kind of a caliber buck if you're any kind of trophy hunter. You're not going to get pictures of every buck in the area. Right here, I'll tell you. Right here, this looked like a little creek. Might not be a bad spot. I think you're going to have a lot of deer crossing here. This corner of the property is a good potential spot because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of habitat that meet right there in one location. And you have this oak flat. The deer right now, they're going to be feeding on acorns a lot. They're going to feed on other stuff, but they're going to feed on acorns. I have gobloads of pictures of deer feeding on my food plots, but they're feeding on acorns too, big time. And you can bet that right here, having these 4 different types of habitat meeting, even though you can't, you don't want to put the camera off the property, but that would be a really good spot for a camera, this corner right in here, because you're going to have quite a bit of deer traffic in this area. Should. I said this little this old road right here, any of the food plots. I said that water source, I'm kind of leaning away from that so much due to the fact that you have so much water on this property. with that gives you 1, 2, 3. You could put a camera down in here or right in here somewhere on this creek would be a good spot to see what kind of deer you have. Um, without other than that, I'm going to tell you, to put a camera by a stand, if you have a rub line or you have, a lot of deer traffic in one spot, which you could have right here on this little creek, because they left the oak trees and it kind of feeds them into this oak flat. Okay, so you could have quite a bit. Other than that, I mean, to cover from here to here, you'd have to have like 10 cameras. You could put one on there. You could put one down through here. I would put one on this corner, and that would cover both. That would cover this entire area. To cover this section here, you could do that. But I mean, you could literally put 10 cameras on this property easily. So, if you have any questions, Calvin, email me, and feel free, and I'll do my best to help you. But feel free to email me, anytime with any questions or anything. And I wish you luck. I hope this video helps you a lot. I like seeing new guys come into the hunting like that and doing videos and stuff for you guys, because I really believe it. Some of the tips and things you'll gain will help you to get off on the right track. Because I can tell you, I've been in hunting clubs. I've hunted about everything that you can, about any type of hunting situation you can hunt, other than maybe a $10,000 a week hunting club or a ranch or something like that. I've never hunted anything like that, and I'm not opposed to someone doing that, or I don't think it's unethical or anything like that. I don't have $10,000 to go spend on a week's hunt to try to kill a deer. I'll tell you that. And if I did, I would probably be one very rich guy before I ever done that. So, anyways, I've hunted about any type things, and I've seen guys that are brand new to hunting, and people want to help them, and that's very good. For hunters to do that. And I've seen the hunters that are jerks, that are all, they're just, I don't know, I can't stand them. It makes you want to just, I don't know. I'll just save my thoughts on that. But they're really, kind of stuck up and, bragging to a new hunter, about how their achievements are. I mean, my gosh, if a guy's been hunting for 15, 20 years and he can't out-hunt a guy that's never hunted before, he probably needs to quit hunting. I mean, good grief, try to help the guy out. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is sometimes these guys that are helping you out and stuff, they have bad hunting habits. I've seen these guys helping somebody new out, and a new hunter would hunt, and be so stoked up about hunting, he's wanting to sit there all day long. And these guys, oh man, ain't no needing sitting there all day long. You might as well be back at camp by 10, during the rut. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I've seen a lot of deer between 10 and 2 when these guys are setting in camp. I mean, a lot of times they're good bucks. Most of the time, you're not going to see very many deer during that time. But when you do, it's good rutting activity during the rut. Now, I don't think you're going to see any rutting activity in the middle of September during that time. But anyways, that's kind of the spiel on, be careful what you see other guys do, because there's most of your hunters, and there's nothing wrong with it. They'll go out in the morning, they'll hunt a couple hours, and then they're back in camp. They're going to see what everybody done, and then they're going to, go back. They're going to go out the last couple hours in the evening, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the way they enjoy to hunt, that's perfectly fine. Now, they shouldn't expect to see or kill near as many good bucks as a guy that gets up in the mornings on his stand and hunts all day long. There's no way they're going to kill as many deer. They might in a short period of time. They may go out there and kill, bam, bam, 2 deer the first day, 2 nice bucks first day. But over consistent years past, the guy that puts in the time on the stand is going to out-hunt them every time. The guy that tries his best to control his scent to some extent is going to out-hunt the guy that sits out there and smokes cigarettes all day long on a deer stand. Now, I will say this, a guy that smokes cigarettes all day long on his deer stand will in a long period of time will out-hunt a guy that spends 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in evening hunting that is absolutely scent-free because he's more time in the woods. If he understands how deer move and if he understands how to hunt the wind, the cigarette smoke's not going to be too bad. So there's a lot to it, Calvin. I hope this video helps you. And anyone else that watched this video, this is a video analysis. I do them, and the reason I charge for them is not to look at the property. I like looking at properties. The reason I charge for them is the work that goes into actually making the video. My labor that goes into them is extensive. It takes a lot of time after this to get this video ready and get it up where you guys can see it. And that, I have so many people. Emailing me about them anyways that, a lot of them want it for free, but that's the reason I charge for them. It takes a lot of my time to do it. I love looking at these properties, especially for you guys like you, Calvin, that's never hunted. It's your first year. I think it's smart, very smart, to get some advice, like this. And that's one of the reasons I've done it. I had guys that emailed me when I started DeerHuntingSchool.com and asked me, and I started doing it, and I realized, man, I can't do every one of these. I don't have time, and I think it's smart the way you're going about it. And I hope your buddy has good hunting ethics, as far as, I say ethics, not really ethics, but good hunting discipline as far as putting time in on the stand. And maybe he'll watch this video and realize, hey, man, if he's not putting his time in, that, hey, that's going to improve your chances of killing deer dramatically, putting the time in on the stand. So anyways, the rut's fixing to kick in. I mean, it's starting right now, and it's the next few weeks is dynamite. If you have time, you can be on a deer stand. Calvin, you or anybody else watching this, most of the United States is got some dynamite hunting coming up in the next few weeks. So anyways, I appreciate it. Wish you luck, and have you questions, email me. Have a good day, and bye-bye. Anybody check out DeerHuntingSchool.com for more tips, information, things like that on deer hunting. Bye-bye.